Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Becerra de Meneses, a nonprofit organization. We work strictly with volunteers and press the. Hold on. Thank you. Sorry, we experienced technical difficulties. Again, we are a Spiritist association. We're a nonprofit. We function strictly with donations and volunteers. And our mission is to study Spiritism and promote the practice of spiritual and material charity. Our phone number is 305-477-4148. Our email is info@spiritist.com. And our website is www.spiritist.com. We're broadcasting live on YouTube, so please put the phones on vibration or off. Thank you. Today, we're going to be talking from our book, Our Daily Bread. This book was written by dear Francisco Candido Javier, and it was dictated by the Spirit of Emmanuel. We'll be talking about chapter 123, the common condition. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed in tears, "I believe, Lord, help me overcome my unbelief." This is in Mark chapter 9, verse 24. This man from the crowd who brought his sick child to Jesus is a characteristic image of the common spirit of humankind. Religious circles comment a great deal about their faith in God. However, during stormy moments, there are few devotees who remain firm in their trust. The masses give a lot of attention to outward worship ceremonies, even though they take part in the religious teachings related to their faith. However, when they are faced with a crime or an offense, nearly all of them slide down the cliff of mutual accusations. If a missionary fails, disbandment follows. The community of believers keeps its eyes on fallible men and women, blind to purposes or indifferent to institutions. In a climate of such insecurity, people believe and disbelieve, trusting today but collapsing tomorrow. We're still faced with the ambiguity of immature spirits that have barely begun to understand what responsibility is. Therefore, happy are those like the father in need who come to Christ confessing their precarious inner conviction. Thus, as they affirm their faith verbally, they will at the same time be pleading for help for their lack of faith, attesting with tears to their own miserable condition. In today's reflection, Emmanuel reminds us how many of us fail to trust God in the difficult moments we encounter along our path. Religious circles comment a great deal about their faith in God, but when afflicted by difficult moments, they don't remain strong in their faith, creating a climate of spiritual insecurity, believing and disbelieving, being trusting today and distrustful tomorrow. Happy are those that come to the Father, confessing their weaknesses, declaring their faith, but at the same time exclaiming in tears, "Dear Lord, I believe in you, but please help me in those moments where my faith is weak." Beautiful message and so true. We fail sometimes when we're in trouble. Our faith kind of weakens a little bit. And with those words, can you please help me with a little prayer? Close your eyes, relax, take a deep breath. And let's elevate our thoughts to the Almighty and thank Him. Thank you, dear Lord, for all the blessings that we receive every single day, some of which we take for granted. When we wake up in the morning and we open our eyes, it's a miracle. When we sit in our bed and take a deep breath, it's another miracle. And when we see our children, our spouses, it's another miracle. Thank you, dear Lord, for all those things that you give us every day. Thank you for our families, our friends, our jobs. Thank you for this center, Becerra de Meneses, and for all those spirits that come to us to help us. For all those brothers and sisters that help keep the doors open. And for those that in any way help us to maintain our center. We ask you, dear Lord, for world peace. We ask you, dear Lord, to share your mercy upon those that are in need, those that are suffering, especially the children, dear Lord, especially those that are in jail, in the hospitals, in homes, sick and lonely. We ask you, dear Lord, to give them strength to carry on every day their task with dignity and love. And with those words, dear Lord, we also ask you to spread your mercy and your enlighten our sister Angela, who's going to give us today the gospel, Sunday's gospel. And we ask you to open our hearts and ears so that we can learn from the message. Thank you, dear Lord, and we ask you all of these things in the name of your Son, Jesus. So be it. And with those words, we are going to welcome Angela. She's going to be talking about chapter 8, Blessed are the pure in heart.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. It's great to be able to talk about the gospel. And the gospel is something that we should live it every day. So it's not just a simple book. It's a book that we have to live the book, live the teachings of the book. And that's the only way we can actually fully understand the gospel. And today we are going to be talking about blessed are the pure of heart. And I found this picture so adorable because the little kids are the image closest that we can think about, pure of heart. So today, as our friend just said, is chapter 8. And we start thinking about these little kids, adorable little kids. It's hard for us to understand we are really eternal spirits, full of good things, but also full of mistakes. But when we see the little ones, we totally forget about it. And we just think about love, compassion, how adorable they are. And they are, for the parents, little angels. Always. Even if sometimes they are mischievous to others, the parents know it's my little angel. And this is everything in the chapter that we are going to be try to talk a little point in all of this. And this is the final portion with the Spiritist teachings of what the chapter brought to us. So we have to understand what we're going to be talking today. It was captured from the Sermon of the Mount. So are the Beatitudes, the beautiful Beatitudes that Jesus gave to everyone. And Kardec removed 4 Beatitudes from the usually, depending of which gospel. From Matthew, for example, are 8 Beatitudes. But from other ones are 10 and others are 11. So these are the 8 Beatitudes described by Matthew. And Kardec chose the ones in blue to talk a little bit deeper And he organized, as you see, number one on the right side, he reorganized in this order not because it's best, but it was for his understanding of explanation. It was easier for us also to understand. And I know you guys follow the gospel. So today we are doing pure of heart, and next week the meek, and go on and on. And I'm very happy for you, because it's really important for us to study the gospel. And I love that you guys do it in a public meeting, because most of the centers, they do it in private studies. But it's so important for the whole public to really comprehend. Lectures are beautiful, but studying the gospel, studying the Spirit's book, studying the codification, that's what is really matters. So let's start. Let the children come to me. That's what Jesus told his apostles. So he said also, heaven is for those similar to children. Some people misunderstand, saying, oh, heaven is just for children. No, heaven is for those similar to children, similar. So similar in looks? No, similar in the inside. So your children, young children, they are always simple and humble, always. Children are easy. Adults are complicated. Just to give you an example, my son nowadays is 14 years old. Start getting a little complicated at this age. But when he was 2 years old, everything was super easy. So I organized a big meeting of a bunch of mothers and children that I knew all of them through internet. So I organized this meeting at the park. So I'm meeting all these mothers and the kids, and I'm talking to this one. And my son is playing right next to me on the floor. And I asked her, where is your son? She said, oh, that's a little blonde running around. And I'm like, oh, okay. So suddenly this little blonde, he comes running. He's 4. My son is 2. So he comes running and he goes to my son. And we are both looking. They were not introduced to each other. And he comes to my son and he tells, what are you doing? And my son says, playing. And then he looks at him and he says, do you want to be my friend? And my son says, yeah, okay, let's go. So he grabs his hand and they both start running and they start playing. And they are still very good friends until nowadays, even if we now are in Florida and they are in New York. But that's how children are. Children are simple. Children don't ask, what do you do for a living? Who is your mother? What are you doing here? No, they are, do you want to be my friend? Yeah, okay, let's go. And how are they humble? Children also are humble because they can care less who is your mother, who's your father, what school you go, what do you do for a living, what kind of clothes are you using. No, they see someone else and they see a friend, somebody that I can play with, and that's it. When we become adults, that's all the other things, we start thinking too much. But if we could really be in heart as little kids, everything would be so much easier. So the little kids, they are innocent, loving, curious, and they are mini sponges. Mini sponges is extremely important because God is extremely intelligent. So he gives these little mini sponges for us. So we have a blessed opportunity to fulfill these mini sponges with good things. That's what parents should do. So we have to understand the little kids, they are frail. So they are very vulnerable. So that's when the connection starts, because mother, father, they see that little thing and they know, if I don't feed him, I don't dress him, I don't protect, she will die, because God gives these spirits to us like this. So they help us, adults, to connect with that little one. And us understanding Spiritism, we know that the little one might be someone we loved very much, but might be someone we had a lot of trouble in a past life, and now return to our arms because God is really superior than all of us. He is the creator. So he understands the mechanism of our intelligence and how difficult we are. So he gives this little angel so we get connected and we feel like he needs me or he's going to die. And that's when the bonding starts, because you need to protect that little thing. And the little thing starts growing, and that's when we start teaching. We start teaching and they absorb everything. So sometimes they repeat things and you're like, my God, he heard me. So this is the process of forgiveness when you connect with the little one. But we have to be always very careful. We understand the process of reincarnation. We are spiritists. So we understand the veil of forgetfulness. A lot of people tell me, but it's so sad. If you believe in reincarnation, why can't you know all your past lives? Because God is wise. If we could really know, a lot of people have glimpses of what they did. But if we could fully know what we did, we would be very, very ashamed. Because a lot of people think, oh, I was a princess, I was a king, I was this, I was that. Even if you were, you for sure took decisions that were not very good. And nowadays, if you could see the movie of your life, you would feel very bad. So it's a blessing that you cannot remember everything. But it's a blessing even bigger because you don't know who are your loved ones right now. Your mother and father, your brothers, or what you were. So you don't know exactly this connection. Sometimes you have that pain, that difficulty with your brother, but it's your brother. You have to respect. And you have a mother and father that remind you all the time, it's your brother. Don't do it. I'm here. You have to respect him. And let's go right now together, and you both are going to talk. That's the importance of the parents. Because the parents have this within them, understanding they have to guide these two. And maybe these two were terrible enemies in the past. That's why they come back together. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing that we can grow together. And here is how little children see parents, superheroes. So the little ones are always looking at you because they think you are the best of the best. And as I said before, the parents see the little ones are the little angels. Even if the friends are like, oh my God, the little kid is coming. But the parents, they're always the blessed. And because the little ones see us as superheroes, being a superhero, mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, grandparents, all the adults, especially the very close ones, we have to be very careful with what we do. Because everything we do is good in their eyes. And if we smoke, even if we are trying to hide, we are smoking, and then he comes and sees, oh, that thing in her mouth is good. So when that little one grow up, in his mind, the seed is there. That was good because my mother used to do, so it's good. And then the parents try to revert, and it's already difficult. So it's a double responsibility when you have a little one to really watch yourself. What are you doing? Is right? Is wrong? Should I change? Think about it. And these three beautiful books the Spirit of André Luiz wrote talk a lot about thought, the power of thought, and also about the connection with the body and spirit. And there we understand that the age of 7, more or less, 7 is just for us to have an idea. That's when the spirit and the body really connects. So until the age of 7, the little kid probably said, oh, my spiritual friend sees a lot of spirits, and is absolutely normal because he is between here and there. It's very normal. Don't get, my son's a medium. Maybe not. But when he reached to 7, 8, then he starts getting very earthly spirit. So he starts really embracing his full spirit, his collection of lives. We have to take the opportunity at this age, that's young age, to teach them everything is good. And if Spiritism is good for us, if we trust the morals of Jesus Christ, that's what we study in Spiritism, not just the science part, but the moral teachings, especially in the gospel, we have to give to our kids too. And a lot of people say, oh, no, but I don't want to do this because I really want my kid to decide when she gets older. Well, psychologists and studious people of religion, they already reached to the conclusion that's not good. They don't have discernment to decide anything at this age. Our job as parents and educators is to teach them what we know is good, what is helping us. When they reach to adulthood, they will decide, but that little seed will be always forever planted there, even if they decide not to do anything with it. If they decide not to be spirit, is not to be anything, but the seed will be there. And one day when they are in trouble, they will remember. So this book is the book that I studied with my son. And it's a beautiful book that teaches all the gospel. So while I did the big gospel, he was doing the little one, coloring, and then we used to read together. But you guys have a Spiritist center. And most of the Spiritist centers, they have people that they can teach the little ones. And this is such a blessing. It's not every place that has it. If you guys have it, use it. Use this wonderful opportunity because it's very important for the little ones to get this message. But also the gospel at home. You should teach your son also in the house about the gospel. Nowadays in Brazil, we have this book by a spiritist called Luiz Hu. He's really, really nice. And this is Turma da Mônica. It's a cartoon very famous in Brazil, extremely popular, and there is in English too. So here, that little blonde chubby angel is a teenager. So, that's when they become teens, the spirits really start showing their imperfections. They show everything. But the parents are aware of all the loving sides, but now the parents are really seeing their imperfections. We all have imperfections. But the teenagehood is the moment that the spirit is fully connected with all his past lives and with all his goodness and all his errors. And also all the hormones, the change in the body is difficult for the teenagers. They want to prove themselves. I am John, and you are my mother, but I am John. So these parents, they have to have extra dosage of patience to be able to still understand it, still love them, but still teach them. You are John, but I am Mary, your mother, and you have to respect me. And if I'm telling you this is not good, you do not understand it, but it's not good. Maybe one day you will understand. And as a child, I can tell you when I was teenager also, I told my mother, when I have kids, I'm not going to do that. I am doing exactly everything she did. So never say never. So going on, we have here sinning in thought. And the picture already tells you everything. So this lady is envious of the big plant of the other one. And she's probably thinking, oh, I wish I had that one. Why do I have a little one? So at least she progressed enough to not grab the plant of the other one. But in her mind, she still desires the other plant. She wants it. And then we have the part of adultery. That's the first thing everybody thinks about. Adultery connects with the marriage, the mistress. But adultery comes from adulteros, comes from adulterium in Latin. And it actually means to adulterate something. So something is here, and I will adulterate it, and I will modify it. I will modify the meaning of it in a worse version. So this is in everything. You modify something to worse. So sin can mean all this, can mean offense, crime, violation, going against the law, and betrayal. So let's remember, sinning is not just connected to a marriage, but to all of these crimes that we can talk. And nowadays we have so many types of modern sins. So modern things, you go to a store, somebody gives you more money than you should have in exchange. You see, and you're like, woo, I got extra 20 bucks. You put in your pocket, you don't say anything, you leave. So in your mind, in that moment, that's okay. That's from the store. Nothing's gonna happen, but it's not true. At the end of the day, when this girl goes to see how much money she needs to have and how much money she actually has, if it's less, she needs to put from her own pocket. And this pain will be within her. And we know she doesn't know who is the person, but she is resenting the mistake she did. So this is a sin for us. Thinking something wrong is good. Another thing is that you just found a wallet. Probably was that man that just walked. You see us here. That's a lot of money inside. And you're like, oh, I really need money. I'm full of bills. This person probably has a lot of money. So I'm going to take the money and I will call later on to give the documents back. This is still a sin. This is still a terrible crime. We need to understand the law of action and reaction. Everything we do here will have consequences. If not in this life, in the next one. So let's try to do something good, because we will receive something good. Next time we are in a similar situation, we will actually receive a call. Hey, lady, you just dropped it. Look at your wallet. So that's how we would like to happen to us. So that's what we have to try to do to somebody else. And so many other types. This is the most common type of adultery that you think about. Why this men don't break up the relationship before starting another one? Why to do it? It's not necessary. And nowadays we even have all these types of sins in the internet. People pretending to live a life they don't have, pretending to be super happy all the time on Facebook and everything else, showing off something they don't have. But deep inside of them, they are suffering. The internet tools are a blessing. That's what we have here. We have an opportunity to be talking here, and people in, who knows, other states, other countries to be listening. So let's use it in a positive way. Instead of showing all kinds of horrible things, let's show something that's positive, that can make somebody else happy about it. And as you can see, this man, he is in trouble. His mind is full of thoughts. He's disturbed. But why? Because he is trying to take an action. His thoughts are all over the place. And as we say in the scale of progress, the lower spirits are the ones who still nurture evil. They like it. They think it's good. This man, he's probably in the middle. He's combating the evil thoughts. The thoughts come and he's like, no, I can't do it anymore. I have to stop. And I have to tell you, we are all there. We are all there because we are still not pure spirits, like the top of this pyramid, because we don't think wonderful things all the time. No, all the time. Maybe we are like, today I am good, and somebody closes you in traffic and you curse. Are you a pure spirit? No. Even if for a split second you changed your mind, you are still in this sense. But we have to continue working on. True purity is the one that doesn't sin in action, neither in thought. So we probably evolved a lot in this action, because we are not gonna hit anyone, hopefully. But we still think about hitting someone. But one day it will change. And let's try to go a little bit faster because I see the time. Purity in hands, the true purity. And then Jesus come and he talks a lot about it, the unclean hands. We have to remember in the time of Moses, for example, that's when Moses created this law. The people from Moses' time, they were afraid of God. In Jesus' time, Jesus is trying to show them that God is actually a loving father. But in Moses' time, he had to show a tough God, so they would start respecting. But then Moses, being a medium, he also understood and he felt the connection of many other laws that were important. And God didn't write every single law that Moses wrote. But Moses, well inspired by God, wrote about lots of different laws about hygiene to protect the health of the population. And as you can imagine, they lived in the desert. Water was really something to drink. Washing hands is like wasting water. But no, nowadays we know about germs, we know about so many things that can really make the food bad and we get sick. And they always ate with their hands. So they take care of the animals and they cook. Everything can be transmitted with diseases. So the Hebrews, they follow the Mosaic law. But with the time, they created hundreds and hundreds of rituals. So the washing hands was not a hygiene only, was a ritual. You have to wash 5 times to this in this direction, then you turn, you wash 5 times your hand to this other direction, then you have to have a white towel and you have to dry. So this is a ritual. This is not more hygiene. And that's what Jesus wanted to show them. Jesus was not against hygiene because he created our planet and us, so he knew everything. But he wanted to break the rituals. And the Pharisees, they were the scribes and the Pharisees. So the scribes were the lawyers and the Pharisees, the politicians. And they were extremely connected to these rituals and this form. And that's how Jesus had a lot of trouble with them, trying to teach them, trying to make them to understand the purity is from the heart, from our actions, not the washing hands and so many other things. So Jesus always called them hypocrites to wake them up. So like in this passage, Isaiah prophesied about you saying, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts remain far from me. And that's how they were. They were not connected to God. They were connected with rituals and power. So they neglected God's commandments in order to hold the practice of rituals established by humans. So it's much easier to wash hands than to have a really cleansing of our heart and our actions. We have to think about it. Then comes the scandals. And scandals is a little tough for us to think. So Jesus saying, if your hand is cause for a scandal, cut it off. It's like Jesus being aggressive. He was always a message of love. But as we can see here, there are scandals all the time. Scandals for all kinds of things. And when they involve powerful people, it's even worse. But we know there are 2 different types of scandals. These scandals we are talking here are called ordinary. But now we want to talk about the evangelical meaning. That's very ample. It's big, it's large. So scandals in the evangelical meaning, they are all the human vices, the imperfections, and our wrong actions. So any little thing is a scandal in the evangelical meaning of the word. And when we have a mediumistic meeting like here, the spirits come to tell the stories of their lives, their personal scandals. Why they hate someone, why they want to kill someone else, this and this. And it's a beautiful work the spirits do in order to help them, to guide them. And we know that expiation is when the spirit have to learn their vices. have to learn why they did so much, and now they have to go back to school, reincarnating. And then reach to a point that spirit is tired of evil. It's like, I can't take it anymore. I'm tired. So that's when they start the process of forgiveness. As I said, Jesus always spoke in allegorical ways. He didn't want any violence. He actually wanted us to destroy impure sentiments, immoral tendencies, and the evil thoughts. That's what Jesus wanted us to destroy. And here again, Jesus is talking to the group and he says, let the children come to me. And then the children go. So this is the final part in the Spirit's teachings. So this is for us to understand the real meaning of these sentences. So the children go, so the children are weak, they are enslaved, and they are wicked. Wicked is actually like they are bad. They are not that good. They are not that good. And who are those children? Who are they? So they are adults. Remember I said, let the ones similar to children come to me? Because these ones that he's talking about are the adults, but they are intellectual and moral infancy. They are still learning, as the message we studied here before, saying we have many stages and we are always progressing. And some spirits, they get stuck in that and they do not progress. So Jesus knew these spirits, they were still committing those crimes and they could not understand his message. So what he did, he planted the seed. The ones who were able to grasp, they joined Jesus immediately. The other ones, they remain. They remain to continue. And we understand that nowadays with Spiritism, we were the ones in the time of Jesus throwing stones at him and his teachings. But we reincarnate, we progressed, and we learned, and now we are here. Sunday morning, we could be going to the beach or whatever. But we are bettering ourselves. We are here. I can go to the beach another time. Now I need to work on the betterment of my soul. My skin, I can take care of this later. So we are here. So we are the ones who are actually using our free will, actually using it well to progress, to continue progressing. And the last part, blessed are the ones whose eyes are closed. Basically, Jesus is saying, blessed are the ones who are blind. Why? He is the one who created our planet with these gorgeous landscapes. Look at adorable little turtle trying to eat a strawberry that's almost her own size. And then we have these adorable little kids that come to us. So why being blind would be good? But Jesus also said, pluck out your eye if it is evil, and that it would be better if it were cast into the fire than be the cause of your own perdition. So if we are using our vision, our bad eyes to see things that we feel envious and we want to have something that we don't, that's exactly what Jesus is trying to explain. This is bad. That's not what we should be using our eyes. And this is another example. There are lots of suffering on the planet, not just homelessness, but many other things. And we choose to look at the other side. We choose not to see it. We want to be blind to problems because we don't want to take action in helping. And I have to tell you, even if our day is busy, we see a homeless and you feel guilty and you don't do anything at that time, do a prayer. And later on, try to volunteer in an institution to help somehow. Donate money to an institution. As Divaldo Franco says, many times it's not good to give money to people in this situation because they are in a very difficult situation. They probably will use or misuse the money to something that's not very good for them. But we have to do something. There are so many good causes that help people in this situation. If you can't do anything, just pray, because you also don't know your future. Maybe now you have a good work, a good family. You don't know what can happen in 10 years, 20 years. I work with a lot of homeless doing charity. And when they tell us the stories, they say, I had a life, I had this, I had a job, I got sick, and everything changed. So this is something for us to think about. And remember, there will be always reincarnations. And there are no coincidences. The law of cause and effect that I already mentioned. And we are now a collection of all our past lives. So if we are blessed having our vision, this is good. But don't think you are perfect. Don't judge the others because they don't have a vision or they have whatever, because we all have vices. They are hidden inside of us. We are the ones who are conducting this car of our lives. And we have to understand what are the wrong points and take action in the good sense. But the most important of all is this prayer. My Father, dear God, heal me, but may my infirm soul, my sick soul, be healed before the infirmities of my body. Being spiritists, we understand that the diseases of our bodies, our physical bodies, are consequences of the diseases of our souls, of our spirits. They come through the lives and they show off in our physical bodies. So if we have a disease right now, it might be from this life, from a misuse in this life. But it might be from a misusing another life. And now we will have to expiate the disease. So let's say thank you for the disease, but let's not rebel against it. We have a disease because of some reason that we do not understand. But let's pray to God to help us to have an understanding, to be able to discover what caused that reflection in my physical body. Let's try to treat it exactly like this prayer. That this prayer is in the gospel. It's a much longer prayer. This is just the beginning. So why I'm going through this, please God, help me to understand so I can work on that point. And I might be cured physically, but the most important really is to be cured spiritually. So when I go to the spiritual realm, at least that point I overcame. I'm better in that point. And I will not have to have another reincarnation to go back to the same point, because I did it. And this is the very, very important part for us, because we believe in life eternal. And we also believe we are constantly progressing. And that's the point. We have to constantly progress. Let's not be stuck in our mistakes or in the mistakes of the others, because we all commit mistakes. Different. Maybe what I already overcame, the other didn't. And that's the final point. Remember that Jesus is always with us in the good moments and in the bad moments. The moments we are crying, thinking we are alone, He's actually carrying us as a little baby, just saying, my dear, I'm here, be strong. Most of the times we don't see it, we get rebellious, we get angry, but we need to have faith in order to progress. And with these words, my friends, let's close our eyes, relax, because we're going to go into the passes where we are going to be receiving these blessed energies within our souls and also in our physical bodies. Dear God, beloved Master Jesus, all the good spirits that are here with us, the spiritual protectors of this beautiful spiritual home. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for the teachings. Thank you so much for this house that we can go and learn and improve. And at this moment, we would like to ask you to help us to connect with all these good spirits and with our guardian angels so we can receive this positive energy that all the past givers will be transferring from the enlightened spirits to us. Help us to connect with it and also to send a portion of this to our loved ones, whatever they are, so they can also benefit from this. And Master, stay with us now and always. Thank you so much. So be it.